So my son says to me yesterday that he went into the Santa shop at school, and the Santa shop is basically where at school the kids can bring money and go into the library or a room wherever they have it and buy these little $1, $2 gifts. And the idea is they can buy these things for uh, family members, mom, dad, uh, friends, or themselves. And so my son says to me, he says, I went into the Santa shop today, Dad, and he said, I had $6 and I was gonna spend it on myself. He said, but then I thought, that's not me. That's not who I am. And so he bought something for his mom, for me, and his two sisters, which I thought that was great. I'm glad that mindset is in him, and we have, we've tried to instill that type of mentality into our kids. But it got me to thinking about this idea of living for the bigger picture. Turn my phone down. Uh, living for the bigger picture. You know, the Bible talks about give and it shall be given. Good measure pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give unto your bosom. In other words, basically, when you give to others, when you give into the kingdom, God will cause men to give back into you in a greater measure than what you gave. And a lot of times we are missing out on the greater blessing, missing out on receiving more than we have ever had in our lives, because we're wanting the immediate gratification. And this is my thought process in this whole thing. We're wanting the immediate gratification. So we're selfish, and we're not giving, and we're not sowing, and we're not putting other people first, because all we can see is the immediate outcome of this thing. And all we can think about is the immediate gratification, instead of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture of what is this going to cause in the long run of things if I forsake myself right now in this moment, and I choose not to gratify myself, but I choose to put somebody else first, or give to somebody else, or think about somebody else. What's this going to do in the long run? What's this going to spawn in the long run for them, for myself, for the future, for the community, for whatever? And a lot of times we're so focused in on our own lives and the now, and what do I need, and what do I want, and can I satisfy myself, instead of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture of what can I affect in the big scheme of things? What can I affect in the long run if I don't think about myself right now, and I sow now? And I think Seth, without maybe realizing it, my son was looking at the big picture. He says to me later, he says, I should I probably should get a big present this year, because, I spent all my money on other people. And, you know, he's looking at the bigger picture. He's looking at, if I don't go after the immediate gratification right now, and I don't live for the immediate gratification. And he stood back and said, well, if I forsake myself now, maybe, what's it going to do in the long run? That's, I think that's where we need to live. We need to live for the big picture. Look at the big picture in the scheme of things, and don't be so focused on right now and let me just satisfy this thing right now. Let me get through the day right now, and let me just and think about the big picture and the big scheme of things. And what are you doing right now for tomorrow, for next week, for the future? What you're doing right now will always affect your future one way or the other, either in a good way or a negative way. What you're doing right now, how you're living your life right now, the choices you're making, the seeds you're sowing, the people you're helping, and a lot of times we just think about the now, and we're doing what we want to do in the now, and then it smacks us in the face in the future, and we look back and think, man, I shouldn't have, I should have thought about the future. I should have thought about what was coming. But, don't live for the immediate gratification, and don't just live for today, man. Step back and look at the big picture of things, and think about, what can I do now? How is what I'm going to do now going to affect the world around me, next week, next year, the future? And you can create, if you will. You can create a future for yourself. You can create a great life for yourself to walk into, depending on the choices and things that you do right now. But if you just live for yourself right now and live for that immediate gratification, your future is up to chance. It's just it may turn out good, it may not. But man, you think about the future and quit thinking about yourself in the now, and I'm telling you, your future is going to be that much better. So step back and think about the big picture and the long run, and make decisions based on the future and the long run of things. And I don't know, just a thought I had.